Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jessie Cutting, and I run the wellness program at Adams County, for those who do not know me. Welcome to the third session of our Mindful Minutes webinar series. Our presenter is Dave, and he's from the Shambhala Center in Denver. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started so we can maximize our amount of time today. And I'm going to hand it over to Dave. Actually, I have one more thing before I do that. Just a quick reminder, we are recording all these sessions. So if you have missed past sessions and would like to access them, they are on Absorb, and they will be available till the end of the month. All right, so with that, Dave, they're all yours.
Hello, everybody. Good to see all of you again. It's getting to the point where I really get excited about seeing little squares pop up on the screen. So that's been delightful. And how's everything going? Many of you are doing this 5 minutes a day challenge that is set up by Jessie. And yes, please, Margaret. Oh, I love it when okay, Margaret, tell us how this 5 minute challenge is. I know it was completely accidental that you raised your hand, but I can't pass up this opportunity.
I find it actually really good. The app that Jessica provided for us, I've actually found quite a lot of different ones, from just breathing to listening to, I miss rain and thunderstorms, though we did get a lot of that over the weekend. That was nice to listen to, or just like, there was some celebrities, like there was just different chants, there's music, there's just people talking just about different topics, and it's just nice to pick one different every day and see which one I actually like.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? What's your experience of the 5 minutes? Anybody want to jump in? Well, what I'd like to point out is that, at one point when I was young, I lifted weights. And you did this gradually. You didn't go in and just throw a bunch of weights on the machine. You do it very gradually. You just build up slowly. And so you go to the gym to lift weights. I've often thought that meditation is like going to the gym for the mind. You don't just try and immerse yourself. Remember my merry-go-round example. When you're trying to slow down a merry-go-round, you don't just grab it and tear your arms off. But if you just slap it, just touch it every time it goes around, bit by bit by bit, what happens is it slows down. And the slower your mind is, the easier it is to get insights, to start to recognize, oh yeah, I've done that a lot. Oh yeah, I think that way. And those are the type of things that come as you make friends with your mind. And making friends with your mind, it's so important. From the first class on, I've just kept emphasizing that when you notice you're thinking and come back, be friendly. Just go, wow, thinking, that's interesting. And just then place your mind over and over and over. It's not a goal. It's not a project. It's just simply learning how to notice the activity of your mind. And we always started with body. And I, for people that are doing different types of meditation, I strongly encourage always just start with your body, because it's there and it's been there with us all our life. I'm going to introduce actually, before we start, I'm going to introduce a 3-breath practice. And what I'd like us all to do is just take a deep breath and let it go. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a deep breath. At this time, I want you to attach whatever you're thinking, whatever's going on, and I want you to attach it to the out breath and just let it go. Just attach whatever is on your mind and attach it to the out breath and let it go. We're going to do this 3 times. So take a deep breath. Just let it go. The in-breath takes It just comes naturally. Take another in-breath. Attach your thoughts or feelings. Let it go. And one more time, take a deep breath. And this practice can be done anywhere. It can be done in your car, your vehicle. You could do it in your office. You can take a walk in the hallway. And I found it very helpful myself over the years. Once I became really familiar with my mind, this little 3-breath practice can really change the outcome of what I'm saying or doing. We can just relax with ourselves a little bit. And one more time, I'm throwing quite a bit of stuff at you. I've been in mindfulness of body, and we've done mindfulness of mind, which is what we're kind of semi-reviewing right now. We're noticing that we're thinking something and we just let it go. And today we're going to be moving up against mindfulness of feeling. And I've been, I think by now you might realize meditation is vast. It's huge. There's so much that we can explore. So this is like the very tip of the iceberg, but it is so helpful to, what would you say, not be afraid of who we are. And the more familiar we are with the types of thinking we do and our emotions and our thinking and having a feeling and then watching our minds take off along a very familiar neural fence line, we can actually become so familiar with that it becomes workable. Sometimes in fact, this morning I was on a walk and I started to rev up on actually it was a politician, a politician came into my mind and I started to feel myself rev up on it. And I went, nah, I'm not going to ruin the walk with this. Let's just keep walking, Dave. And so I caught it and let it go on the spot. And but other times it catches up to me, and next thing you know, I'm off thinking about this, that, or the other thing and revving up on it. It's not bad. It's just learning how to recognize that that's what I'm doing. I've often told people that I have a doctorate from MSUU, and someone says, "What's MSUU?" And because it's being recorded, I'm going to say that's Make Stuff Up University. That's not the, I'm a master at making stuff up. I can be just, it's so much fun. I can get a headache, and 5 minutes into the headache, I can tell you the approximate size of the tumor and how long I have to live. I'm really good at this stuff. I've been doing it for so long, but at this point, I'm aware of I'm at MSUU. I know when I'm running around the halls of my own mind, and just face it with mostly with a sense of humor. So, and Jesse is actually manning the chat again today. So when I'm talking and things are coming up, go ahead and throw whatever you want into the chat. We're going to be practicing as we always do. But just use her, because I don't, I'm looking at the screen. I'm not looking down at a chat button. So she's actually monitoring the questions that you have, and she'll get them to me, which would be great. And as we have been doing for every session, we're going to take 5 minutes now. We're going to do it, you can chalk up your 5 minutes a day thing right here if you want. But in the course of noticing your thinking and going, that's interesting, and coming back, make sure you maintain a friendly attitude. Every time you notice, you should have a party every time you manage to come back, Just come back, enjoy yourself, watch yourself take off again, notice it, come back, And what you're doing here is you're becoming more and more and more familiar with the nature of your own mind. It is so brilliant that we actually have this. Don't judge this in any way. You know, you can notice what you're thinking, but don't judge it as this is good, this is bad. Don't judge it as I'm a terrible meditator. I can't keep my mind on my breath. That is not it. In fact, it's the opposite of what we're trying to do here. So when you notice you're thinking, I'm going to ring the gong. I'm going to give us 5 minutes. If you want, halfway through your practice, do the 3 breath practice. Just try that and mix it up a little bit. And, you know, I know we're short on time, but I think we're only going to do this for 3 hours this time. I think I'm going to cut it down to a 3-hour practice as opposed to all right. Enjoy your practice. So I'd be curious to see if anybody wants to chat a note to Jesse as to how did it feel that time. I remember, I think the first week or another one of last week, maybe it was someone said that was the longest 5 minutes of my life. And, you know, it was kind of a great line. I remember the first time I practiced and I was just sitting there quietly and could not figure out why I couldn't just handle being with myself, just hanging out with Dave. I've been with Dave my entire life, and yet at the same time, I had developed a pattern and habitual patterns of really being pretty mean to myself, that there was something wrong with me, that there was, you know, and it was such a sleepy existence, not knowing that I was doing that. And so this meditation practice, which by the very translation of the word is to become familiar. So we're going to move in real briefly to mindfulness of feelings. I wrote some things down and then I came across something else. I'm going to read something real briefly. This is about how we look at feelings during our practice. We regard feelings to help us develop a simple, non-judgmental awareness of what we are experiencing. Seeing a particular feeling as one of many feelings rather than as my feelings or as a part of me. As we watch each emotion or sensation as it arises, remains present, and passes away, we observe that any feeling is impermanent. Since a pleasant feeling does not last and an unpleasant feeling is often painful, we understand that feelings are unsatisfactory. Seeing a feeling as an emotion or sensation rather than as my feeling, we come to know feelings are selfless. Recognizing these truths, we know feelings as they really are. For me, if I had a feeling, I would be captured by it, usually pretty quickly too. In my journal I actually pulled a journal from 30 years ago. And then somewhere in that journal, I wrote that I found out that I was having a hangover from my dreams. I didn't remember what I was dreaming about, but when I woke up, there was definitely a sensation or feeling. Has anybody heard the expression getting up on the wrong side of the bed? All right, so, and that was the one I used in the journal. I said, I wake up and I'm definitely in a rotten mood. I don't know what I was dreaming, but it had me in a rotten mood. One of the things about the mind is that it can't stand having an unexplained feeling. So what Dave does is he goes into the file system of Dave and he starts flipping through his file system going, well, you know, my first wife said this in our divorce. No, I gotta, you know, the IRS, no, that was the, you know, oh, here's one. I got a ticket yesterday. And then I start playing that in my mind. Now I've got a storyline going that matches the feeling I'm having. And I haven't even opened my eyes yet. By the time I'm out of the shower, I have really revved this thing up. And then to date myself, then I can't find the newspaper that needs to be delivered to our door. And then I get on I-25 and the traffic. Oh my God, I'd just be banging on the steering wheel. This all started with waking up on the wrong side of the bed. It all started with a sensation, a feeling. And I had no idea that I could actually ruin the rest of my day chasing that feeling or maintaining it. So one of the things that I did is I learned that when I wake up in the morning, that I give myself 10, 15 minutes. No matter what's going on, I just sit down, I have my gong, I ring a gong and sit down. And in 15 minutes, 10 minutes actually, whatever sensation of that feeling or emotion will have changed. It goes away. If I chase it with a story, I just can rev it up again. So the trick is becoming so friendly with yourself, you know, acknowledging, of course, we wake up with different sensations and feelings. That's just having a body. But this is a tool then to sit there and come back. And I'll send something to Jesse this week different readings or books that I've had over the course of the years that have been helpful to me in working through all the various stages of meditation. And now I'm going to open it up for questions and Jesse, is there anything in there that you think we should address?
Currently not any questions in the chat. There was some feedback from the session we did. Some of the themes were, it's felt long to some people, short to some people, makes people tired. So maybe that could be an interesting thing of why does meditation make us feel tired? And then noises can be very distracting. So maybe some comments on that. Easier to go as the weeks go on. So maybe addressing some of that.
So, our minds have been running at a high rate of speed for a long time. And so when we actually put ourselves in a place of just hanging out, just relaxing with ourselves, there can be a feeling of just sleepiness, just being asleep in a minute. But as an example, some of us thought that 5 minutes was a long period of time. Others just, went by in an instant. That will continue throughout your entire meditation career. Sometimes when you practice, it's going to feel like you could sit there for 1,000 years and you're going to feel, oh yeah, this is great. And then you're going to grab hold of that. You're going to have a memory of that. And you're going to try and create that feeling the next time. It doesn't work that way. We're always different. We're always going to be. So the trick to meditation is to accept non-judgmentally whatever is arising in our practice. And when we sit there and get closer to that, we can actually do better. Sudden noises. We want to be distracted. I think we touched on this. Eyes open or eyes closed in our practice. Sight is very powerful. And so there's a squirrel right out my window as I'm speaking. And I immediately get hooked by the squirrel. I'm like a dog. Squirrel, squirrel. So sometimes when I'm practicing, if my sight is getting me, I'm latching onto my desk and things I have to do over there, I just close my eyes. Close my eyes for a few minutes during my practice, and then open them up in a relaxed way. I'm not focusing on anything. It's a soft gaze. So yes, my eyes are open. And the reason we want to have that ability to practice with our eyes open is that we're not trying to shut out anything. We're trying to actually open up to our entire experience. And so, in the end, we become our own meditation instructors. We actually know where we are, but it does take some time to become a good meditation student, so to speak, to yourselves. Did I cover all the pieces there, Jesse?
I think the last thing was, it seems to be getting easier the more I do it. Why might that be?
Right. You're becoming familiar. You actually start to become familiar with your practice. When you sit down, you can have a good day, and then you sit down the next day and it's easy, and then the next day it feels like impossible. The trick is to do the 5-10 minutes a day. Just keep going back and becoming familiar with what your mind is up to, and you're making friends with it. You don't need to be afraid of who you are. You don't need to be afraid of a bad mood. You don't need to be afraid of a good mood. You can just actually have all these aspects of being human presently in the moment, and you don't have to chase it with a story. I've been going on rants about how Walt Disney just really screwed us up. He told us all we're going to live happily ever after. Well, that was BS. If we were, then I get off on another rant about Sleeping Beauty. Here I am, the prince, going through the woods, and I come across a woman laid out unconscious, And do I call 911? No. I go over and I start making out with her. What is that? That's just crazy, you guys. This is nuts. So there's all sorts of just delightful anecdotes that have risen out of my practice over the years. And I have found myself much kinder. I say that it's kind of like finding out you're a complete whack job, but you start to fall in love with the whack job. You start to fall in love with the whole package of being human. And the other thing you find out is it's workable. This is a completely workable situation. If I trained myself to be mean and sarcastic without ever realizing that's the way I was looking out at the world, to sit there, become familiar with that and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. This doesn't feel good. On a personal note, my wife and I said, no more sarcasm in our marriage. And because we don't know when it's going to hit wrong. I know it's popular to make a quick cutting remark, but then we don't know on how we are that day. The mind changes. And so some days that might land really, really the wrong way. So we just eliminated it. And it's nicer. We enjoy each, we like each other. So that's a nice switch. All right. I promised Jesse that I would always be on time. I've thrown so much stuff at you guys in 3 weeks. It's the amount of territory that is being alluded to by our short sessions is just the tip of the iceberg. And it's so practical, but it is vast at the same time. So we have one more session coming up next week. It's going to be mindfulness of phenomena, which is mindfulness of everything. Instead of a tighter focus on our breath and everything in here, we're going to start expanding out. So you become mindful of the whole package. I see Kim has this beautiful background of a lake, and that's what we're going to become familiar with that. And I don't know where you are, Andrea, but I like your background too. So okay, any last comments? And I will stick around for just a few moments if everybody wants to. Most of the sessions that I have, are much smaller than this, and it becomes something where I'm not a talking head. This practice is learned from each other. It's been going on for 2,500 years. There are people that have been practiced. They send it to the next person, and this and that. So this is a long time practice, and it only works when we actually have time together to explore it. So what else was I going to? I have several meditation students. One has been a veteran from Vietnam, and in this practice, it finally relaxed enough that he started to see things, started to feel it. And we just there was a group of us there, and we just hung in with them. And then after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, he goes, "Okay, I can go back in the room." So this is the type of thing that's it's hugely practically, it's just practical is a great way to put it. Now I'm perfectly over time. So I know that you guys are working. Thank you so much. I was telling Jesse that I get kind of enthused about Adams County Day. I call it Bath Day now. Have to clean up for the Zoom. Okay. Have a good day. Keep practicing. Keep practicing. Goodness, lots of names on the screen here.
Yeah. there were, let's see, let me stop recording.